When you think of Nebraska, three things come to mind: cornfields, nature, and Husker football. Typically, people think of Nebraska as being a clean state with minimal pollution compared to other states, but that is not entirely true. According to Graham Jordison and Emily Rosenwasser, more than half of all toxic water pollution in the country comes from coal-fired power plants, which makes coal plants the main source of water pollution. In Nebraska, we have 6 coal-fired power plants that dump toxic water into the waterways every day, which is making drinking water toxic and making fish in Nebraska rivers dangerous to eat. Omaha Public Power District's North Omaha coal-fired power plant has had severe effects on the environment for decades. The power plant has been dumping toxic water into the Missouri River, which is Omaha's source for drinking water, for many years. The water that is discharged into the Missouri River from the power plant contains coal ash and wastewater. According to a report from the Waterkeeper Alliance, 70% of the coal-fired power plants, including the power plant in North Omaha, do not have limits on the amount of toxic metals allowed to be dumped into the rivers. According to the Nebraska Department of Environmental Quality, these metals include arsenic, boron, cadmium, mercury, and seleniumb, which can lead to brain damage and neurological damage. Many people swim and fish in the Missouri River outside of Omaha, and many do not know how bad the river is being polluted by these coal-fired power plants. Bodies of water throughout Nebraska are so polluted with pollutants that the state has warned people about eating fish in these bodies of water due to the increased amounts of mercury. As a result of these increased amount of pollutants in the Missouri River, Omaha's drinking water is one of the worst in the nation, according to the nonprofit Environmental Working Group. Not only are these coal-fired power plants polluting the waterways in Nebraska, they are also emitting pollution into the air. The Gerald Gentlemen coal-fired power plant in Sutherland, Nebraska, has been dramatically emitting sulfur dioxide pollution into the air for 30 years, according to a report by Matthew Gerhart in 2017. The sulfur dioxide haze emitted by the Gerald Gentlemen power plant travels hundreds of miles in massive amounts. The massive amounts of sulfur dioxide haze lead to haze pollution at 6 national parks and wilderness areas. The national parks include the Badlands in South Dakota and the Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado. The states that are affected by the haze pollution from Gerald Henderson in Nebraska include South Dakota, Colorado, Missouri, and Oklahoma. The tourism to these local parks are impacted by bad air days from the pollution coming from Nebraska. The haze also creates local health risks, which include increased risk of asthma attacks, heart attacks, and respiratory and heart disease, according to United States Environmental Protection Agency. The pollution created from coal-fired plants in Nebraska and around the nation are taking its toll on the environment, but we could stop it, and we are beginning to do so. The Nebraska Public Power District can reduce amounts of sulfur dioxide being emitted into the air by installing a device called a scrubber. According to Matthew Gerhart, these scrubbers filter what gets released into the air and can reduce the amount of sulfur dioxide by up to 99%. Nebraska can also switch from coal-powered power plants to safer alternatives such as wind or solar. According to Jonathan Benjamin Alvarado, in a study conducted in 2015, Nebraska would benefit by converting to wind energy because Nebraska has the second highest wind energy potential in the nation, second to Kansas. The benefits from the limited wind energy Nebraska used in 2014 were significant. Nebraska saved 392 million gallons of water and avoided 1.1 metric tons of carbon dioxide emissions. According to Alvarado, if Nebraska used wind energy as its main source of power, it would benefit Nebraska and surrounding states by not emitting any pollution. The negative effects of coal-fired power plants in Nebraska is hurting the environment in and around Nebraska. Hunting and fishing is a very common activity that many Nebraskans love to do and is already being affected by the pollution from these power plants. Safer energy alternatives such as wind energy and solar energy can stop the toxic emissions that are coming from coal-powered energy plants. The amount of pollutions that we emit into the air and water of Nebraska can and will have major consequences on our lives if nothing is done to stop it.